What is going on, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of the Sports Talk on Tap podcast. And man, this is a good day for me as a Vikings fan. Big news. We were, just about to hit the record button to finish our two divisions with our NFC West and South keys to success. But then this came across the table. The Vikings are extending wide receiver Justin Jefferson. 4 years, 110 fully guaranteed, up to 140. I assume, that's based on stuff like receiving yards, health, how many games played, and stuff like that to get there. Makes him the non-highest paid QB in NFL history. My thoughts are, it's done. No more, Nick walking up in class saying Justin Jefferson's a Patriot. This is what loyalty is, fellas. Best receiver in the league. Obviously, I had him in my top 10 receivers of all time already. It's just a good day to be a Vikings fan. He's obviously, helped bring a new light to this franchise since he got into the league. And obviously, teaming up with him, J.J. McCarthy for the future, always going to be great. With him, Jordan Addison, it's just going to be a bright future. And to know, he's only 24, entering 25. So this is a perfect deal. This will take him up to like that age 29, 30 season where then he can get new money at that point. This is just great, though, to see, not going to go to a big market. Teams were talking about the Chiefs or something like that, to team up with Mahomes. For me, though, as a Vikings fan, I'm ecstatic. I mean, Justin Jefferson is the best in the business. You got to respect your Tyreek Hills, but, people who think, this is what the market is now for wide receivers. We saw Amon-Ra St. Brown get paid north of $30 million, worth it. Justin Jefferson is 100% worth it. For anyone who thinks that as a Vikings fan, they know it. As a non-Vikings fan, they probably know it. I mean, he elevated Kirk Cousins to 13 wins, and now I can't wait to see what he does with JJ. And it's perfect to get it done now. That way him and JJ or Sam Darnold, who I assume is going to start week 1, will be starting. So you just want to build that chemistry up, not get it done right before the season. And he missed a lot of time training camp. So we'll be there for mandatory mini camp before we head into that month break before training camp. But as a Vikings fan, this is obviously just ecstatic for me. And I know Nick will get your thoughts on this too. But boy, I mean, that Justin Jefferson New England hopes will have to wait at least another 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations, man, because I know what it feels like to lose a great player, but I also know what it feels like to re-sign a great player. So big congrats to you. Congrats to Jefferson. He's worth every penny, and we did the math, $35 million a year. But to be honest, I thought he was going to get paid more. I thought he was going to get close to 40 a year. Because I agree, he's the best receiver in football, and I
thought so too. If I'm a Vikings fan, I'm not mad at this contract at all. It's not like that. If you want to call it, I don't even think you can really call it an overpay. That's I thought it was going to be around $40 million a year. That's what he was asking. Why it was taking so long, but maybe the Vikings.
I don't think Vikings fans would be mad at any contract as long as it's extending him at this point. With him being your franchise's top player, him changing that franchise,
changing the game,
being the best in the biz. I don't think as long as it says Vikings extending, I don't think that Vikings fans care what number it is because you're not really paying your guys right now. You don't have to worry about paying your QB till later down the road. There's not other guys on defense you got to really pay. So this was your guy, and hats off to him because they paid him. He stayed loyal to his team. He didn't, move on and say, we stunk last year. We lost our quarterback, so I'm moving on. So,
and if I'm correct, it's 110 fully guaranteed over 4 years. And we'll have to see how it's spread out because it's not always, but that's an average of 27.5 per year fully guaranteed.
It could be front loaded, back loaded.
I think it's going to be more back loaded because I think the Vikings are trying the next 2 years to really sign some big time free agents because without the extension, they were projected top 4 in cap space. And I think they still want to have that cap space to sign a couple big free agents because I think they're looking for like not this year, but like the next 2 years for like a big time to make a run with Jay Jettas and the team while Jordan Addison's still on his rookie contract and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a good time to be a Vikings fan for this.
Oh yeah.
He's just even in the losses or the wins, he's highlight entertainment, and he's what brings fans to the games. And he's just, a joy to watch. He loves, being with the media, kind of like, even though they're in the same city, kind of like one of the Ant Edwards of the NBA, funny, just, does his thing, balls, and just someone people like the new fan base for kids, like not our age, obviously, but like, those 14, 15-year-olds, copying his gritty moves. He does, a lot of impactful stuff that helps, just change the game.
This is another thing this is big for the NFL in general because guys like Jamar Chase, they were waiting for this deal because they wanted to see
Jamar Chase is up next.
So
the Bengals can still wait, though. I mean, I wouldn't rush doing a contract right now. I mean, I know the Vikings and Jefferson almost got close like the day before kickoff last year. That's how long these extensions can take when you're just done with 3 years. But the Bengals don't have to but the problem with waiting is they only get more expensive, especially because I'm expecting a big Joe Burrow bounce back. That means more Jamar Chase yards, especially with Tyler Boyd gone. So, yeah, if I'm the Bengals, I'm trying to get this done now.
He's probably going to be around 30, I think. It's probably going to be around 30 million a year.
At least, yeah. I mean, with the 140, like you said, it's like 30-something, but it's like not – yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how – if it's front-loaded, back-loaded, I assume it's going to be more back-loaded. But we'll look as those contract details come out. But this is why you do a podcast, man. Raw emotion showing out. Kind of funny how we are able to just do it right before we are about to go. I saw a message come across my phone on a Vikings Discord saying 4 years, 140 million. Let's fucking go. And I only knew that meant one thing. So yeah. Huge time for the Vikings fans in just the NFL because, anyone who was looking like, what should we trade to get him? That's not happening anymore. But with that being said, we'll still get some coverage now of Nick. We still got 2 divisions left in our, think, keys to success. NFC South, NFC West. We'll start in the NFC West. Only fair to start with the reigning champs, San Francisco 49ers. And I hate to pull this card, but it's actually legit for this 49ers team because they're always dealing with injuries. As long as this team's like relatively healthy, though, they have all the talent in the world to win regular season games. But another thing I want to do is just not get off to a slow start because for the 49ers, it's like, how many times can you – I know we were talking about the NHL, but how many times for the 49ers especially can you make these deep playoff runs to the Super Bowl championship, come this close and be like, all right, let's run it back? Because eventually fatigue wears on you, even if it's like that extra month only. You're playing that much more football, less time on vacation, and it's just demoralizing to you. It's like, can we even what's the point? So, for them, it's still to just get off to a hot start for me and just stay healthy because, if they fall behind early, like a unexpected 2-4 start, 3-4, and it kind of gets ugly from there, that's where I could see some problems. And it's Brock Purdy, is throwing a lot more interceptions. So for me, as long as they stay healthy, Brock Purdy continues to take care of the ball, just get it to his weapons. The defense still remains around the top 15 level. They'll be just fine. But, it is more of a mental thing, I think, for me. If San Francisco were to miss the playoffs, then an on-the-talent field problem.
Oh, yeah. This is my most simple key. I'll show it. I don't know if you can – oh, is it backwards? Don't be stupid. They have the most loaded roster in the NFL that if they literally just play their average game, they're probably going to win 11 games and make the playoffs. So don't be stupid, and that's largely don't get injured. But, yeah, don't do stupid off-the-field shit. Don't be stupid with your teammates and cause, interior drama because we've seen that break down teams before. So for the Niners, just play the way you played last year. Stay hungry for that Super Bowl because if you're hungry enough, you'll get back, or you have the roster to get back. It's obviously nothing's guaranteed, but yeah, just stay hungry. Brock Purdy, continue the way you're playing. You don't need to elevate to the next level because of how good your team is around you. You still have McCaffrey, so just keep him healthy. Don't overuse him. Bosa, try to stay on the field because we've seen him have injury issues. But yeah, this is the in my opinion, the team that is probably most probable to make the playoffs. Them or the Chiefs.
No, I agree. For them, it's don't be stupid. Brock Purdy don't throw 3-4 interception games like every week, and your team will be just fine. Brock Purdy's shown the good ability to just take care of the football. For me, yeah, it's just don't get off to a bad start, and then you're having to chase. Just continue, use that hot start you can get, and you'll be just fine. Pick up where you left off last year with that momentum. Move into a next team, an interesting team. The Seattle Seahawks made the playoffs 2 years ago, 9-8. Last year, just missed it out. I believe 9-8 record again. Geno Smith kind of took a step back, but that defense kind of took a step forward. For me, for them to make the playoffs, Geno Smith is going to have to play like he did 2 years ago, and a Jackson Smith-Njigba breakout for me, breakout year. He, had showed some flashes, but kind of overall disappointing first year. I'm expecting big things from him this year, though. Assuming, Geno's throwing him the ball, just Geno goes back to that form, and they form like a deadly trio. Tyler Lockett's, another year older. DK, we know what he is, a really solid wide receiver. But, we're looking at Jackson Smith-Njigba, if he can be like, that short to intermediate route guy. Just, kind of like a Keenan Allen, but he has that ability to do kind of a little bit of everything. Him to break out and just form like I would say they'd have to be like, like around like a top 10 offense. That defense is scrappy. They got some interesting pieces. They let a lot of their older players go, and like Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, just kind of, that safety core. Should be interesting, though. They still got, some interesting pieces like Tariq Woolen, but obviously Devin Witherspoon last year. If he even plays like he did if he plays like he did last year, he was really good. So that will be solid. It's a new era in Seattle. No Pete Carroll this time around. I'm excited to see what happens, though. But, for me, their offense would have to be like around top 10 with that trio, Kenneth Walker, running back, and just Geno Smith, he didn't throw a lot of touchdowns, but he had like 30 the year before. And I know like touchdown passes and yards aren't the end all be all, but I felt like he's took a huge step back. But also with his age, like, can he get back to that? We'll see. Maybe it's the offensive line in front of him that has to do a better job protecting.
Yeah, I said they got to just figure out the QB situation, whether it's with Geno or not, because I know they brought in Sam Howell, who has the potential to thrive in that type of offense. He's shown that he has the capability to, sling the football around the yard, but they got to just figure out the QB situation. And if Geno can step up for them, that'd be awesome, because we saw how good he was when he had his like resurgence year. But obviously taking a step back last year, like you just mentioned with age, it's tough to, stay that consistent after, having such an up and down career. So I think they have a pretty good defense. Witherspoon was unbelievable last year. We know Kenneth Walker has the ability to break out any game. So QB, per usual for me at least.
Yeah.
When it comes to these playoff keys,
they are an X factor, though. If they want to make that next step, a lot of these teams have to. That'll be very interesting. Next team in the West, let's go with an interesting one. The Arizona Cardinals. They got an interesting spot. Kyler Murray, we've known, kind of a lot of potential, shown a lot of great flashes, also some off-the-field issues with him. For me, for them to make the playoffs, Kyler Murray is an MVP candidate, and Marvin Harrison has like a Jamar Chase type rookie season, Justin Jefferson type rookie season, where they just ball out that wide receiver one connections. Great in that offense. And I say MVP candidate, like top 5, like Kyler Murray's doing it all with him, Marvin Harrison. And they just become one of the best offenses because that defense can be scrappy at times with Jonathan Gannon. But, I mean, the defense needs to do a job too, probably like top 20, top 15, obviously. But, like, if they want to make that next step, I mean, they would have to – that connection would have to be unreal for me. And just the offense as a whole.
I said the same thing. I said that they both have to click all year. It can't be a late year bloom. It can't be a start off hot and then get cold. They have to go for 17 games. Marvin probably has to put up 1,400 yards and like break Puka Nakua's record. And Kyler has to stay on the field and don't play stupid when he's on the field. And they competed last year when he was on the field. Like, I know it didn't show record.
The defense was somewhat scrappy.
Yeah, they competed in all their games, even when he was gone, really. But I know they beat the Cowboys. It was like the Cowboys' first loss. They beat at home. I mean, obviously that was probably, a little bit of a preview to show how fraudulent the Cowboys are typically. But they competed. Gannon had them competing, so that's like always a big thing to see. So that's what you want out of a young team, out of a young coach. So maybe they'll take that next step forward, bringing in a guy like Marvin Harrison, who's already their wide receiver one, going to be, some people's top picks in like their fantasy drafts and stuff. So, and maybe we can get into that in a later episode, like just fantasy projections this year, maybe fantasy breakouts this year. Yeah. But yeah, that's really going to be the Cardinals' key if they have a chance at making the playoffs.
Exactly. No, that will be. And then the last team for this episode, last team in the West, the Los Angeles Rams. For me, for the Rams, aside from Matthew Stafford's health, because when he's on the field, he's great. For me, it's that Rams defense doesn't miss Aaron Donald too much. The Rams defense last year was very, much better than a lot of people expected, and just that Rams team as a whole made us a solid 6 seed, almost beat the Lions. There's not even Aaron Donald is a Hall of Famer, and he's almost irreplaceable. But can the Rams, just find ways to still get continuous pressure without having to sacrifice numbers and blitzing all this time, and the defense behind them can still do their thing? Because a big reason why Aaron Donald was so effective was because everyone had to account for him. You do a lot more quick passes, even if he wasn't getting all the sacks, just because he's that kind of freak of nature. So for me, it's just they're not going to have to miss him too much. They can still get the same, good amount of pressure, or obviously they won't get the same without having to blitz because Aaron Donald is that good. But get around, just stay consistent, be able to generate a decent pass rush at points, and just the back end doesn't have to hold the receivers to like 7-second long routes, which are almost impossible, and you eventually get burned. So for me, I'm looking at that defense and just see, can they hold up without Aaron Donald?
I had something different, but that's also a really good point you bring up about that defense. We don't know what they're going to look like because he's been on the field for them every single year.
Yeah. We made that last wing play on the Super Bowl because I thought the defense more, because for me, as long as Stafford's on the field, he'll sling it to Kupp and Nakua. They'll be just fine. That's where I thought, they'd be good.
That's more so where my keys are about. Mine is just spread the ball out. Don't force feed one or the other and kind of take one out of the game.
I think they did a good job of that, like towards the end of last year. It wasn't like Kupp. Kupp was getting force fed the last 2 years, and granted it won them a Super Bowl. But the year before that, he got injured, or the year after that, he got injured because they were just feeding him 15 receptions a game, 20 targets. It's like that wears you. Well, that wears on you.
That's why I'm saying spread it out, because I don't want the same thing to happen to Kupp again, or potentially to Nakua, because when Kupp was hurt last year, that's when Nakua was really breaking out and getting his 150-yard games and stuff like that, breaking all those rookie receiving records. So just spread the ball out. I believe they also drafted Blake Corum, so I think he could be a big key.
Yeah, that's an interesting piece.
Because we saw what he did at Michigan, obviously. I was surprised that he wasn't drafted by Harbaugh, but, is what it is. But the offense, I think, is going to be the key for me, again, even though the defense is another great point you bring up. Losing a first-ballot Hall of Famer, you're going to see some sort of drop-off, even if it's small.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's the thing. Just not that big of a drop-off where it's like, holy crap, we can't do shit without him. which, could happen. And then the defense and then the offense has to score 30 a game, and it's like, no, thank you. We can't.
Right.
With that being said, thank you guys for listening to the NFC South. NFC West. We'll do the NFC South tomorrow to end it all. And, the big Justin Jefferson news today. Let us know what you think. Overpay, underpay, just right, and what you agree and disagree with for our keys to success. And we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.